welcome to a winning edition of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, because today it's all about Charlie Sheen and the Netflix documentary, a.k.a. Charlie Sheen, which I watched over a couple nights with my kids and my wife. My kids having no idea who Charlie Sheen was. But
which is maybe a Shonda?
Well, no. I mean, they remembered I showed them Men at Work, where he and Emilio were together.
I'm surprised you haven't showed the Major League.
I think it's almost time for Major League. I think like baseball is very but baseball
it's basically
is not.
Ted Lasso. I realized.
Oh yeah, so maybe they'll be into it now. They're really into Ted Lasso, but I would say
basically a copy. Except
but the game is much harder to understand.
Her ex-husband's life, she's trying to move to Florida. So,
oh yeah, but trying to sell the team. Yeah, it's the same plot.
She's trying to tank the team in order to move the team to Florida, so she doesn't have to have Cleveland winters.
Yeah.
As opposed to in Ted Lasso, she's trying to tank the team to screw with her ex-husband.
That is true, mate. Yes, Ted Lasso is a bit of a knockoff of Major League. Major League is awesome. I think one of my immediate not revelations, but one of the things I really thought about right away was that how great his run of his movies were in the 80s and 90s. I mean, and how good an actor he is, right? Like, I don't know if at the time we took him as seriously as he should be taken when you think about what he's been in. Platoon, Wall Street, right? Huge Oliver Stone movies, right? Huge Oliver Stone movies. And then Major League, which is a comedy, but a great sports movie for sure, right?
Wait, are you saying that, we were not exposed to his, high standard oeuvre when we were kids? We were exposed to the Major League Hot Shots?
No. We were exposed. Well, I don't know if you saw Platoon, but I saw Platoon in Wall Street.
I don't even know if I saw Platoon. Wall Street.
When I was a little bit older, Cadence, Navy SEALs, which they didn't mention at all, but that movie's awesome. 8 Men Out, which I watched recently.
It's not about his
Young
movies,
Guns.
the documentary. That's the thing. It's
No.
if they did one on his movies, it would be a different documentary. Because he's got many movies. Except Ferris Bueller, they brought that up.
Let me put it this way. Charlie Sheen is synonymous with this guy who went bananas in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And 2.5 Men more so recently. And I think when we were kids, we watched movies with him in it. And I definitely, when you look back and see how many of his movies that I loved, that I watched over and over again, and how cool I thought he was.
Yeah.
Really that hair. Such cool hair.
He's so hair.
I feel like that really dissipated from my brain. And going back and watching this movie is the first thing of this movie, the documentary. Oh, yeah. Three Musketeers. That's already when he started to lose it, but...
Right.
Oh, the Arrival, the original, which is a very cool movie. You just I don't know. I feel like it's not talked about enough just how damn talented that guy was or is. I don't know. I don't know if he still has the chops.
Unfortunately, he overshadowed his own famous. He was famous until recently. The guy's been famous his whole life, but that's not the same as being appreciated for his talent. Now, similarly,
I see your point.
Similarly, Downey Jr. is so much more capable than Iron Man. And
he's an Oscar. He's finally Oscar winning, right? He finally won an Oscar.
Did he?
Didn't he win for Oppenheimer?
Maybe? No, I don't think he won. Did he? I don't know. I don't think. Google that. The point is that Downey Jr. turned it around to do blockbusters, and I hope in his the third season of his life that we'll experience now, we'll get to see the Downey Jr. we all know exists.
He did win Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, he won Best Supporting? Good for him. He deserves it. He's an amazing actor. I feel like had Charlie Sheen righted his ship 20 years ago, like Downey Jr., we would get the opportunity to see him do something. But unfortunately, I don't think you can act at that caliber, even though if you have the talent, if you're a mess. And so, you know.
And I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure this guy can stay sober and be famous at the same time. Somehow it seems Charlie Sheen has done that.
Right. And that, well,
I'm not Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr. Somehow it seems that Robert Downey Jr. has done that.
Right, exactly. And be incredibly famous, franchises and all that, and keep it on the straight and narrow. Whereas Sheen seems to be like now kind of, you know, chill, and like I don't think he's like working too much, and seems to be able to keep it together. I wonder what this documentary will do. Like if I was that guy, I wouldn't be on camera ever again if I wanted to keep my life together. So, you know, it's just interesting to look back and see how funny, how like serious, how talented somebody could be. We don't even get to have this conversation about someone like River Phoenix because that guy died in a mistake. Like that guy was not an addict the way.
No, but he was a party animal.
He was a party animal, and he did drugs, and he overdosed. But he didn't mean to overdose. It was a night like partying, right? And things got out of hand. Seems like that happens to a lot of people, or it happened to Sheen many times.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, that's the point that is made in the movie over and over again, is that there must be something biologically superhuman about him, that he survived.
And he survived all this.
Himself.
You know, like it's very sad that there's other incredible actors that would have blown us away, like River Phoenix, who you never get to see have the chance, or Philip Seymour Hoffman, which, you know, we know already was one of the best actors of all time, Heath Ledger. And it's sort of like a cat with 9 lives, like Charlie Sheen's 9 lives. It's a lot to ask that on top of it, I guess he has like an incredible film career forever. Like something has to give. But it's pretty wild that like, this is not, I think because if this was somebody, maybe it's the prestige of his family, but if this was somebody that didn't have the talent, I don't think people ultimately would pay this much attention to them. Although people love watching a train wreck. I think people
love watching a train wreck, and that's a really interesting thing about this movie as well. But I don't think he would have achieved his real fame, the basis of his fame, without being talented.
Right.
Because when we were kids, people didn't, like when he was at his most famous, people didn't, you knew certain celebrities partied and stuff like that, but it was fairly anonymous to the regular public. He wasn't famous for acting like a maniac.
Right.
It's in that last couple of meltdowns when he was on 2.5 Men, which was really, you know, that's the 2010s? Is that when that happens?
Yeah.
Right, like that's really once social media has really blown up.
Right, it shows you, it's so interesting how you see the evolution of the witnesses to like the publicity around his mess and the creation of TMZ. Like
TMZ, and I think there's a really interesting. Well, okay, we'll get back to. Okay, let's get into the documentary. The documentary, I think, like the first thing that hits you is the way and Becky would talk about this if Becky. I'm not sure Becky will make it today, but the way it is they intersplice and edit the archival footage from his childhood, the reenactment, and then scenes from his movies as if they are scenes from his life.
Which I think there's very little reenactment. There's like maybe 2 scenes of reenactment or something. It's mostly using clips from all the movies he's been in, which in a way is giving homage to his films.
Yeah. Well, it reminds you how great he was. It reminds you
of how many different roles, but then it's also used to show as if it was all of it's a documentary. And they even use his dad's stuff.
Yeah.
Because they look so much alike. Like,
yeah.
It's wild.
And to talk about his childhood and to show what he witnessed as a kid. So I think that's just an incredible element. Like from Becky was saying to me, and I'm not sure if she doesn't make it today, she won't be able to say herself, but like from a craft standpoint, she was like blown away. Becky kept saying it. Becky knows docs inside out. And Becky was like, this is how you make a doc with archival footage.
And I was like, what is the most surprising thing you learned about this documentary? That's the question I keep going back to. And the first one is that it's good. Like, the most surprising thing is that you'd expect it to be a bit like trash, and it's excellent. And then you're like, oh, wait, these people, like, he knows what he's doing. The people he makes around himself would know what they're doing. Like, you don't expect him, I guess, in the end to make something crap.
Yeah, to me, it's like an award-winning level quality documentary. There's a lot of celebrity documentaries now that are propaganda films. And I say this about, like, Taylor Swift's American J-Lo. Something, J-Lo, even Pink, who I love, her tour documentary was really a propaganda film about how great a mom she is. Now, she's probably a great mom, so I'm cool with that. But this was more
like, those are like publicity reels as opposed to a documentary. That's
this was, although he talked in code at certain times about certain things in his life, they did not really pull any punches. They showed you, well, I mean, actually, there's probably a lot they didn't say.
I'm sure.
But this was a very revealing portrait of the guy, and nobody who spoke was censored.
And I feel like there was some sort of agreement or promise. If you're going to do this, you need to give people something new, as opposed to this. You can Google any of the shit about him and read tabloid crap about him.
You got to break news.
If you're going to do this, you got to break news, and you got to reveal a little bit more of what was real in all of it. And, you know, it's that the last 20 minutes when he's just like debunking, telling the truth, like, that's like clearly what the whole thing was leading up to.
Yeah, that was the big shark reveal. The second, I would say the second part gets a little repetitive when they get into the but I think it gets repetitive in that part because for two reasons. One is we lived through it, like, as adults. Like, we saw that happen as adults.
Right.
It was also extremely documented. Like, all of those videos of him melting down and
we did that tour.
The B-roll of him doing the tour
and the footage of him losing it.
And the news about that tour falling apart. Like, all of that was exactly, we were wide awake and aware for that. The other stuff where it's the photos of him and Nicolas Cage and Sean Penn talking about them growing up together. Those
Super 8 footage, the whole movies he made with his brothers, and like his friends, and in this sort of idyllic Hollywood adjacent childhood is really, really, really cool. Like, it's the background to somebody who then eventually truly falls apart, but it's also a little window into. Like, there's very few celebrity childhoods now that would ever look like that. Like, maybe whoever takes their kids out of...
Oh, because of how visible everything is.
Right. Like, if you can't be at the level of fame that Martin Sheen was then, now, and have your kids have that sort of, you know, idyllic running around an empty Malibu making home movies. Now, it didn't save him. He still...
Right. And his brother and his... Oh, Becky's here.
I'm so late. I don't know anything you've talked about. So being a real Fanya in this situation, I'm just going to barrel in. But I have a question. I'm going to start with a question so I don't repeat anything. Have either of you brought up that as much as this is obviously a Charlie Sheen documentary, is this also possibly the origin story of Sam Rockwell's White Lotus character? Because that's also, to me, watching it, I was like, oh, it kind of feels like Sam Rockwell's character was based on, now that I think about it, on someone who, like, intimately knew Charlie Sheen's, you know,
you bringing that up,
substance abuse and chaotic partying and lifestyle. And I was like,
I do think Rockwell's probably based on a compounding bunch of different Hollywood characters. But you bring up a good point. Shai brought up Sean Penn already, and he was about to talk about Emilio. But you look at Rob Lowe was at his first intervention. You look at Sean Penn. You look at Emilio. These other people straightened out quite a bit ago. And
yeah, I mean, Sean Penn does not strike me as a normal person, but he's not.
But he's not riddled with.
He's not fighting people in
the. Yeah.
Right. Like, he's not fighting people and that we know of.
He might not be normal. I mean, I don't know who.
You're right. That's what I kept saying to my kids.
But like
these people are not normal.
Right, but like his trajectory, and you look at Rob Lowe, who we know had substance abuse issues, but has been sober for 28 years. Like, kind of grew out of those phases and went on to have major careers. And his brother, Shai, you were talking about his brother just now.
Well, I mean, Emilio. So one of the big surprises, not surprise. I think the big surprise is that Emilio Estevez and Martin Sheen are not in the film, but they're addressed in such an interesting way. He's upfront about how okay he is about that because it's painful for them. And I feel like they were in the film to a certain degree.
There's a lot of footage of them.
Because he refers to his brother a lot. He refers to his dad a lot. And the way they work in the archival footage, and Beck, I quoted you earlier because I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to say it, about how impressed you were with the archival footage.
And the editing.
Do you guys feel like there was almost like a tribute to them, especially Martin Sheen, built into
Martin
this?
Sheen, for sure. All that, like they got him on West Wing, and they got him in 2.5 Men, and those beautiful scenes between them when he's a guest star on 2.5 Men, and there's that
Spin City, I think too.
Oh, sorry,
Spin City.
Spin City. No, you're right.
It's Spin City,
the
not 2.5 Men.
Spin City, and it's Sean Penn isn't 2.5 Men. And, that beautiful moment between like father and son there. And I definitely think it was, an homage to his dad and how much love there is in his family. Like, this shit destroys families. And there is something to say about like how much love all his friends and even his ex-wives and his colleagues have for him. Because as much as John Cryer is like, he could have ruined my life, and there's tension there. It's wild to see somebody who was so destructive, so publicly destructive, did publicly terrible things like shoot people by accident, and maybe like threaten someone
shoot
with a
Kelly
knife.
Preston by accident.
Shoot Kelly Preston of all people. We were too young probably to remember that news, but the Brooke Mueller stuff, I remember that like debacle. But yet, I mean, Kelly Preston, may she rest in peace. Like, all his other major exes are in this documentary and like are traumatized, but also love him, and his best friend from childhood, and his, drug dealer who seems to love him dearly. Like, there are a lot of really, really beautifully deep relationships shown, even though his dad and his brother aren't in it, considering what a destructive human being he was for some
I hope he stays sober for the sake of himself and his family. It's hard to believe. Whereas Robert Downey Jr. has now given us, 20 years of track record, more or less. And although we don't know if he's relapsed, but
right. But he also, his wife and kids came after his sobriety, whereas Charlie Sheen,
Charlie Sheen's wives and kids just sort of roll through his addiction.
Right.
I mean,
and
I hope those kids turn out okay.
Since he's 20 years old, because he has a daughter that that's 40 in her 40s now. But I have to Denise Richards at one point is raising his twins with.
I remember that. I remember when
Mueller, and is still by his side in support, and is crying on this documentary, swearing like a sailor. Did not see that.
I mean, Denise Richards, I would say the biggest reveal on this is first of all, look, Martin Sheen comes away looking like a saint. And it's actually a beautiful portrait of a father.
And a son.
Forget fame, about a father wanting to help his kids beat the scourge of drugs, right? Because it's not even about the fame, right? Like he just trying to get his son to beat addiction. And it's about that. And then the other, so that's beautiful. But I would say the person who wins this documentary,
MVP of the documentary,
the person who wins this documentary is Denise Richards, because she comes away looking like a good parent,
incredibly strong,
a good human, a strong human. Also, I never realized how trashy she was, right? She sort of refers to herself as white.
She owns it.
Yeah, she refers to herself as white trash, but her characters were always sort of came
Girl
off to
next
me as like
door
privileged
kind of.
girl next door.
Yeah.
But she kind of has like a trailer vibe when she talks, and the way she kind of looks, she doesn't look like a real housewife. She looks like if any, like she looks like she's more from like New Jersey,
or a Real Housewife of New Jersey.
not even a real housewife of New Jersey, just like from Newark or something. I don't know where she's actually from, but
I think it's, I don't know, somewhere rural.
But the way but she comes away looking like someone who had the right priorities, and I don't think at the time the way media went, the media was necessarily favorable. Like as this guy implodes himself, the media was necessarily favorable to her. I also want to shout out to the movie Good Advice, where they met. I love that movie.
Really?
Oh my God, it's such a cute rom-com. It's him and her and Angie
Harmon.
Harmon. And Angie Harmon at like peak Angie Harmon fame. And I remember seeing it on Showtime or HBO. Like it was one of those movies that was just sort of playing, and I was like, "Oh, this is a cute movie. I love this movie."
Like I'd mentioned before, you see,
and he and Angie Harmon have no chemistry in that movie, but they're the romantic couple that the movie goes behind.
That's amazing.
But the movie is extremely cute.
What's crazy is that like there's so many, or unfortunate, there's so many celebrities like this who, like we mentioned before, who don't make it. And at the very least, if this is a redemption story of Charlie Sheen, if this is just one more chapter that we're going to see, unfortunately, like Matthew Perry, right? Matthew Perry got sober, writes his book. He has all this sort of like redemption, honesty, giving like all the background of his addiction during Friends. And then he recently died in a hot tub, like after what we assumed was his redemption arc. Like
I never bought his redemption arc. That appearance at the Friends
reunion,
and I think in Charlie Sheen's case, like he and his family will have to decide how he reacts, because this movie has the potential to get him all sorts of fame and parts and things like that.
Like we didn't really get into it, but like shame on anyone who took advantage of him to make money. I mean, the documentary really reveals how disgusting so many producers, agents, like people who
Live Nation. I mean, Live Nation are monsters, but like, they look like the monsters they are.
Right. And what I like about the doc is that it didn't need to like get into those details. It lays it right out for you, the viewer, to make your own judgments. Look, I'm not saying that it's Chuck Lorre's fault. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
No, but the fact that they couldn't I think it would also be very...
when his kids were sick is just... And that's like a whole studio. That's not like... I'm sure it's not Chuck Lorre's decision, but...
I wonder if today you would have that with how public everything is now. Right. Like then, again, that was like the beginning of Twitter. Like when did Twitter start? 2008 or something like that, when people really started using it? I don't think
anybody would have been able to hold it. Look, we just got Jimmy Kimmel canceled and then right back on because the public fought back. Like if the world found out that they weren't letting the man go be with his newborn
2 babies,
like twins who were in deep like illness, and made him go to work, a normal person that would make crazy.
Especially with the value of that show. Right? Like that show was like, remember he mentions that the show was pre-sold.
Right. Like put some reruns on and let the man go be with his family and you'll come out as heroes. But back then it was like the dollar signs. Like they didn't give a shit about anything. I'm sure they don't give a shit now. They just have to be more public optic facing about things.
I love, there was a nice little like Jewish moment in that they finally let Charlie Sheen address the accusation that he was anti-Semitic because of the way he slurred Chuck Lorre with a Hebrew name when he was mad at him.
And I appreciate that he addressed it too.
Yeah. And I believe he's not anti-Semitic.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, look, It's the opportunity that I feel like we don't get so many times for people to face what they're accused of or be honest. And he might be lying, but it was a great exercise in listening to the person who's been in the tabloids for 30 plus years kind of give their opinion.
Yeah. And I think that like it really does shame the people who celebrated and profited off of his meltdown when they sent him on that tour.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't want to give away the big reveal. There's a big reveal at the end. There is something I don't think anybody's ever heard before.
About the menu?
Yeah.
So the person I was watching with had heard from somebody else about that.
Okay.
And I had never heard of it. So I guess some people have heard of it. I had never heard of it, but it's pretty intense to like hear somebody kind of, be just really honest. So
and so I watched with my kids, and I think they were riveted by the documentary. I mean, that's to me a sign that it's a good documentary. They were like, we got to keep watching this. Because they were like, a documentary. We're like, I promise you it'll be interesting. Because he's so charismatic, right? He's so charismatic. And so I think for me, the documentary is going to help me get my kids into his movies. But also, I was like, kids, what do we learn from the Charlie Sheen documentary?
What did Martin Sheen say?
Yeah, do whatever you can to keep yourself between your kids and drugs.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's a 5-star documentary. I hope it's nominated. I guess it would have to be for an Emmy.
But I guess as like
it's one of the better.
Too.
It's one of the best celebrity documentaries ever made.
If anything, I feel like we should, it's a good time as ever to get back into his, credits. Like, check out his movies.
And with that in mind, we're going to close today's episode with one of my favorite songs from the Dingleberry Dynasty, the song called Sheen, which is about Charlie Sheen. It's a tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of funny. But our dear friend Chris Kamsch and his bandmates wrote this song. And I think I'm going to put it in the intro also, so maybe you've already heard a little bit of it. But it is like a very hilariously weird song that totally fits my
love that
kind of Frank Zappa punk rock kind of vibe. Cool. And so with that, listen to that song, watch some Charlie Sheen movies, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Sheen, 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 Sheen. Sheen, 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 Charlie Sheen is the son of Martin Sheen. Is the father of Emilio Estevez. Is really a Sheen. Sheen, 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 Sheen. Sheen, Sheen, Sheen. All right. Many of you know me and Charlie Sheen are really good friends. And I called him up the other day to tell him that we're recording a song about him. And he said, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, does it involve drugs? I said, yeah. He said, does it involve prostitutes? And I said, yeah. Are you cool with that? I said. And he said, I'm positive. I said, all right, Charlie. Is there anything else you want to include in this song? And he said, I just want the whole world to know that I changed my name to Sheen. And we are actually Estevez's. So I wrote a song called Estevez. And here it goes. I didn't like that song. That song was crap. So I changed the song to be called Sheen. And now it's climbing up the charts in South Africa. Want to hear it? Here it goes. Sheen, 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 Sheen. Sheen, 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 Charlie Sheen is the son of Martin Sheen. Is the father of Emilio Estevez. Is really a Sheen. Sheen, Sheen, Sheen. Slow it down. Backwards. Skipping record. Skipping CD. Tell him what his real name is. Armando Garcia Lopez Estevez. Juanito Armando Garcia Lopez Estevez.
Thank you for listening to Friday Night Movie, the sibling rivalry and pop culture podcast. Join the Friday Night Movie family by following @FryNightMovie on all of the socials and visiting our website, FryNightMovie.com. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? And make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.